showed up for Lunar New Year, but MRSW said, sorry, you must have the wrong place. Shocked, I left. Minutes later, Darren texted, don't be mad. We couldn't let you in. Then I heard him say, he still thinks buying groceries means he's automatically included. I canceled bills, blocked funds, and by morning, 83 missed calls. I thought going back for Lunar New Year would feel like coming home. My name is Eli. I'm 32 years old. I was born and raised in Monterey Park, California, but left for school and work years ago. This year, I finally had time off to come back. I didn't expect fireworks or parades just for me, but I thought at least one door would open. I stood outside Mrs. Wu's house, the one place that used to feel more like home than my own parents ever did. She'd practically raised me when my folks were working double shifts, cooked for me, scolded me, bragged about me to her mahjong group. I sent her money every month for years, helped with groceries, fixed the roof, even got her prescriptions delivered when her knees gave out. It was cold at night. You could smell the fried dumplings and sweet rice cakes in the air, mixed with smoke from firecrackers. The entire block was lit up red and gold. Kids were running around screaming, and someone had already started setting off fireworks. I knocked once, then twice. The door opened. She stood there in her red quilted vest, gray hair pinned up, makeup done like she was ready to pose for family pictures. I felt this instant wash of relief, but she didn't smile. You must be at the wrong place, she said flatly. I blinked, thought maybe she was joking. Mrs. Wu. I said her name like a prayer, like maybe it would remind her. She just looked at me. Then, slowly, gently, she closed the door. Behind it, I could still hear the laughter, the clink of dishes. Someone shouted, time for the group photo. And then another firecracker popped. I stood there a second longer, just long enough to realize that she wasn't coming back. The porch light stayed on, but it might as well have been off. As I turned to walk back down the steps, my phone buzzed. A message from Darren, my oldest friend, practically her second son, practically my brother. Sorry, man, but we couldn't let you in. That's all it said. No explanation, no apology, just that. My hands were cold, but I didn't put them in my pockets. I let them hang there, empty, numb. All those years, all the care packages, the checks, the rides to doctor appointments, the groceries that magically showed up on their porch. And when I finally come home, they pretend I never existed. I stood under the flickering street lamp until the fireworks died down, until my chest stopped burning. That house, with its warm yellow lights and red couplets on the door, it used to be mine too, but not anymore. They made their choice, and I was done pretending I still belonged. I barely made it back to my motel room before calling Darren. The line rang twice before he picked up. Eli, man, what the hell was that? I asked, my voice tight. There was a pause. Then, it wasn't my call. You live there. I snapped. You don't get to say that. It's complicated. No, I said. It's actually not. He didn't say anything. I waited, breathing hard, listening to the static in the silence. Then I heard it. A shuffle, like maybe he thought he'd hung up. A voice. His voice, muttering, low and careless. He still thinks buying groceries means he's automatically included. Everything went still. I didn't move, didn't breathe. My thumb hovered over the end call button, but I didn't press it. Not yet. Then someone else in the background laughed, probably Mrs. Wu. Then a third voice, maybe Amy, Darren's sister. Did he really show up? Laughter. Actual laughter. I ended the call, and just like that, I saw everything clearly. Years of deliveries, wiring money, showing up every time they asked. I thought I was family. They thought I was a joke. I opened my banking app, found the monthly grocery fund I paid for, debit card linked to their account at the Asian market. Canceled. Then I went into the utilities account, water, electricity, gas. My name had been on it for years. Removed it. I even flagged the auto pay for their internet. No warning. No explanations. Just done. The fireworks outside hadn't stopped. The whole city was still celebrating. But inside that cheap motel room, I sat on the edge of the bed, watching the shadows flicker across the window, and felt something colder than winter creep into my chest. My phone buzzed once. Then again. I didn't answer. More messages came in. Darren, Mrs. Wu, even Amy. Hey, I think there's something wrong with the gas. Can you check? Did you cancel the card? Wait, Eli, you serious? And then finally, you're being petty, man. This is Lunar New Year. I stared at the screen. Petty, not generous, not selfless, not loyal. Petty. I dropped the phone onto the nightstand and lay back on the bed. Let them scramble. Let them panic. Because for once, I wasn't going to fix it. The next morning, I sat on the edge of the motel bed staring at the cheap artwork bolted to the wall. I hadn't slept. Not really. Just drifted in and out. The images in my mind as loud as the firecrackers had been the night before. It wasn't just about the door slamming in my face. It was about everything that came before it. I remember the winter Mrs. Wu got sick. The flu knocked her down hard. Darren had just moved out for college, and Amy was always too busy. So I drove across town every morning before work to bring her fresh congee and herbal medicine. Paid out of pocket for a portable humidifier because her cough kept her up at night. She never asked. I just knew. The receipts were still in my inbox. I remember Darren's second year of college. His student loan hit a snag, something about a missing cosigner. I dropped what I was doing and signed the forms that night. Took on the risk. Never questioned it. No one ever asked how I was doing. There was the summer the roof nearly caved in. A storm blew out half the shingles. Darren posted about it on Instagram like it was quirky. Guess we're camping indoors, lol. I drove back from San Jose, took a week off work, and hired a guy I knew to patch it up. Paid him cash. Bought the materials myself. Didn't even ask for reimbursement. When I brought it up once, just once, Mrs. Wood waved her hand and said, "You're young and strong. You don't need things." I never brought it up again. Even during the Lunar New Year gatherings, I was always the one behind the scenes. I'd come early, help set up chairs, carry the folding tables from the garage. Amy would breeze in with store-bought cake and get all the compliments. Darren would show up late, throw one firecracker, and suddenly he was the life of the party. Me? I was thanked with paper plates and cold noodles. There was this photo they framed one year. It sat on the living room shelf for ages. Everyone's in it. Darren, Amy, Mrs. Wu, even some cousins I didn't recognize. I'm not in the frame. I took the picture. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't forgetfulness. It was a pattern. I gave. They took. And the moment I stopped, the mask slipped. They never saw me as one of them. Just the wallet. The favor doer. The background character who made their lives run smoothly. And they loved me. Until I stopped giving. That's when I saw it clearly. I was never family. I was an investment they expected to keep paying out. I opened my phone. Dozens of messages piled up. Darren, bro, don't do this. You're making it weird. Amy, we didn't mean it like that. Just a misunderstanding. Mrs. Wu, I think you're tired. Eli, let's talk after the holiday. Rest first. I scrolled until I hit one from 2 weeks ago. Me sending the pharmacy money to Mrs. Wu's account. Refill covered. Let me know if you need food too. She had replied, "You're a good son." That one stung more than anything. Because last night, she pretended not to know me. I set the phone down and looked out the motel window. Cars passed. Kids rode by on scooters, red envelopes still clutched in their hands. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel tired. I felt done. Done hoping for thank yous. Done trying to earn a place I was never meant to keep. They wanted a sponsor, not a brother, not a son. And I'd finally stopped paying the price to belong. By sunset that same day, I'd made up my mind. I wasn't just pulling away. I was cutting every single tie. I opened my laptop at the motel desk and pulled up my financial records. Everything I had set up for them, every line of support, was listed in neat, organized tabs. I built it that way because I wanted it to be sustainable, predictable. I didn't realize how easy I had made it for them to depend on me. No more. First, I logged into the shared utility account. For years, I'd paid their electric, gas, water, all under my name. I clicked through each one, removed myself as the account holder, and set final payments to zero. Their next bills would arrive unpaid, and this time, they'd have to read them. Then the emergency fund I'd set up in Darren's name. A checking account I quietly refilled every few months, just in case. It had $3,000 in it. I drained it, moved the money into a savings account under mine. I canceled the cosign on Darren's education loan, called the lender directly and told them to release me. I had proof of his income now. He could carry his own weight. I contacted the landlord who managed Mrs. Wu's house. "Please remove my information from the autopay," I said. "Starting today, I'm no longer involved in the lease support." He sounded surprised. "Are you sure?" he asked. I'd never been more sure. The phone buzzed as I worked. Calls, texts, voicemails stacking up like trash. "Amy, why is the internet off?" "Mrs. Wu." "Eli, what's going on?" "We're having trouble with the heater." "Darren, dude, you're really doing this?" I didn't answer. Instead, I opened a blank note and started typing everything I had ever paid for. All the things they didn't see. All the things they called nothing. I didn't write it to send. It was for me. A record. Proof that I wasn't crazy. Every decision they made to ignore me. This was my answer. And when the last password was changed, the last account locked, I sat back in the chair. I expected guilt, regret. Instead, I felt silence. Real silence. Not the cold kind they used when I didn't offer more, but the peaceful kind that comes when nobody's pulling at you anymore. It didn't feel like abandonment. It felt like freedom. 3 days later, the group message came through. "Mrs. Wu, urgent family dinner. Everyone be there. 7 p.m. sharp." No, please. No explanation. Just a summons. I stared at the screen for a minute. Then I hit thumbs up. Let them think I was coming quietly. When I pulled up to the house that evening, everything looked picture perfect. The red and gold banners were still strung across the porch. Paper lanterns swayed from the tree in the front yard. From outside, it looked like nothing had changed. But inside, that place wasn't home anymore. It was just a building where I used to matter. I walked up the steps. The door opened before I could knock. Amy stood there. She smiled like she hadn't spent the last week ignoring me unless the Wi-Fi went out. "Come in," she said. I stepped inside. The dining room was done up like always. Red tablecloth, porcelain plates, mandarin oranges piled in the center. Steam curled off hot dishes that no one had touched. Mrs. Wu was seated at the head of the table. Darren leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Everyone else was already there. Every chair filled, every face tight. I didn't sit down. "We're glad you came," Mrs. Wu said. Her voice had that brittle warmth she used when she was trying to keep control. "Really?" I said. "Because last time I showed up, I was told I had the wrong house." No one laughed. "I think we all let emotions get the better of us," she continued. "You know how the holidays can be. Is that what this is?" I asked. "Emotions?" Darren let out a short, irritated breath. "Look, you didn't have to go nuclear, man. You shut off the heat. My student loans are flagged now." "I only touched what had my name on it," I said. You're upset because I stopped paying for things you never thanked me for. Amy cut in. This is supposed to be a new year. A fresh start. Then start by admitting what you did, I said, turning toward Mrs. Wu. You stood at that door and looked me in the face and told me I didn't belong. She didn't answer. I took a step closer. I've sent you money every month for 7 years. Paid for groceries, medicine, that stupid roof. And when I knocked, all you saw was inconvenience. Mrs. Wu's eyes welled up. We needed you, she whispered. No. You needed my bank account, I snapped. You needed someone to plug the holes while you pretended the house wasn't falling apart. Darren slammed his hand on the table. You're ruining everything. This was supposed to be a peaceful dinner. No, I said calmly. You ruined everything when you laughed behind my back. When you said I thought buying groceries earned me a seat at the table. He looked stunned. I kept going. You think I'm upset about the money? I'm upset that it never bought anything real. Not respect, not family, not even a damn plate at dinner. Mrs. Wu's lip trembled. But we raised you. No, I said. You used me. And for once, no one interrupted. No one denied it. I turned toward the door. You called me here to fix things. But I'm not your fixer anymore. And I walked out, leaving their dinner to grow cold on a table I had set for years, but was never really invited to. The text started that same night. At first, they were quiet. Just one or two, spaced out. Mrs. Wu, you left without eating. You always like my steamed fish. Darren, okay, maybe we screwed up, but freezing us out like this? That's messed up too. I didn't respond. Then they ramped up. Amy, the family's falling apart. You did this. Mrs. Wu, this is not what a good son does. You're turning your back on us. Each message had its own tactic. Sympathy, shame, fear. Like they were testing which version of me might still be reachable. But I had deleted that version. By the second day, Darren was back in full spin. You act like you're the only one who sacrificed anything. We all make sacrifices. What makes yours so special? That one made me pause. Because the answer was simple. Mine were invisible, consistent, unreciprocated. He sent another. You think turning off your phone makes you right? You think walking away makes you better? No, I didn't think it made me better. I just knew it made me free. The voicemails piled up, long and frantic. Mrs. Wu's voice cracked more with each one. You're being cold. Please don't do this. Eli. I didn't mean what I said. I was just overwhelmed. Then, you always were too sensitive. It was just one night. And later, I hope you're happy. This is what betrayal feels like. Each time my phone buzzed, I looked at the screen, read the preview, then swiped it away. I never opened the messages. Never typed a reply. I just watched them pile up like snow no one was going to shovel. For years, they made me feel guilty for asking for anything. Now they were the ones begging, and I didn't owe them a word. I scrolled through the last message. We're your family. Delete. Come home. Delete. Please. Delete. And finally, I turned the phone off completely. Sat in the silence. Let the guilt pass. And it did. Quicker than I expected. Because I finally understood. I hadn't abandoned them. They'd just run out of ways to use me. It was a Wednesday night when they showed up. I had just gotten home from work, kicked off my shoes, and was halfway through microwaving leftover dumplings when the knock came. Not a neighbor knock, not a delivery knock. It was sharp, rapid, anxious. I peeked through the peephole and froze. Mrs. Wu stood there, scarf wrapped tight around her neck, tears already glistening in her eyes. Darren stood beside her, arms crossed, jaw clenched. They looked smaller than I remembered. Or maybe I was finally seeing them clearly. I opened the door but didn't move aside. Darren spoke first. You need to fix this. I raised an eyebrow. Fix what? He stepped forward, like I was just going to let them walk in. I didn't budge. You cut us off. Everything's falling apart, he said. Mom's meds got flagged at the pharmacy. Amy's job's on the line because the internet's still down and she works from home. Mrs. Wu sniffled. We didn't mean to hurt you, Eli. We were just stressed. Stressed. I repeated flatly. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just stepped back far enough to grab my phone off the table. I pulled up the voice message I'd saved, the one Darren had accidentally left when he forgot to hang up, and I hit play. He still thinks buying groceries means he's automatically included. The words hung in the hallway like smoke. Darren blinked. His mouth opened, then shut. Mrs. Wu looked at him, confused at first, then stunned. That's out of context, he said weakly. I turned the volume up. Can't believe he just showed up. Bro, he's not family. He's just convenient. Mrs. Wu covered her mouth. I looked at them both. That's who I was to you. Convenient. Eli, she started, reaching out. I stepped back. You shut the door in my face on New Year's Eve, I said. And now you want me to open mine. Darren's voice cracked. We made a mistake, okay? But you're making this bigger than it is. No, I said. I'm just finishing what you started. He scoffed. This is petty. I nodded slowly. Petty is freezing out the person who paid your tuition. Petty is laughing while I stood outside in the cold. I stared at them both, two people I had once called family, two people who had only ever called me when they needed something. And then I stepped back and shut the door, right in their faces. I stood there on the other side, hand on the doorknob, breath steady. They didn't knock again. They didn't say a word. They just stood there in the hallway for a moment longer, silent, stunned, and then I heard their footsteps fade down the stairs. I didn't cry. I didn't collapse. I just walked to the microwave, took out my dumplings, and sat at the table. For the first time, I ate dinner without waiting for someone to ask me for more. A week later, the updates started trickling in. Not from them, of course not. They had gone radio silent. No more guilt texts, no voicemail monologues, no surprise visits. Just silence. but silence has its own way of speaking. The first message came from Janice, a girl I'd grown up with, who still lived 2 streets over from Mrs. Wu. Hey, heard about the mess. Darren's working the tea stand by the park now. You okay? I stared at the screen. Reread the sentence. Darren, in an apron, handing boba through a window? The guy who once laughed at me for taking a job in shipping before I started my IT work? I texted back. Yeah, I'm fine. I didn't ask for details. I didn't need them. A few days later, another message popped up, this time from Jason, one of Darren's old classmates. Mrs. Wu might lose the house. Amy told someone at the office she's looking for a roommate to split rent. I read it, then locked my phone and let the screen go dark. No gloating, no satisfaction, just confirmation. The structure I held together with quiet sacrifices, pharmacy bills, auto-pay utilities, tuition cosigns, meal top-offs, had crumbled the moment I let go. They had called it love when I gave. They called it betrayal when I stopped. But it was always dependency. Later that night, a final message rolled in from a number I almost didn't recognize. Mrs. Wu, not a call, just a single text. Please come home. We were wrong. I stared at it. My thumb hovered over the screen, instinct twitching, but I didn't answer. Didn't feel the pull anymore. Didn't wonder if they were okay. I had spent years treating their problems like they were mine to solve. Now I understood. They weren't. I hit delete, not because I hated her, but because I finally knew I had nothing left to give. That night, I folded the last of my laundry, set my alarm, and went to bed early. No buzzing phone, no late-night crises, no whispered, "Can you cover this?" Just quiet, not empty, just quiet. I woke up to silence. No buzzing phone, no missed calls, no flashing notifications, just morning light leaking through the blinds and the low hum of the fridge in the kitchen. For a second, I thought I'd forgotten to charge my phone. I checked. Nope, fully charged, just still. I sat up slowly, stretching my arms overhead. The motel bed had been swapped for my apartment weeks ago, but today was the first time I realized I wasn't waking up in fight or flight mode. No urgency, no damage control, just me. I made coffee, slowly, the old way, pour over, not rushed. No one needed anything. No one was waiting for a transfer, a ride, a rescue. Just the sound of water meeting ground beans, and a soft hiss as it brewed. After breakfast, I bundled up and went outside. The winter air hit my skin sharp and clean, but not punishing, just real. I walked to the park 2 blocks down, the one I used to skip because I didn't have time. I always had somewhere else to be, someone else to take care of. Today, I had nowhere to be but here. My breath fogged the air as I walked slowly along the trail. Parents pushed strollers. Dogs barked. A little boy chased a red balloon while his dad laughed behind him. And for once, none of it made me feel alone. I was just present. Back at home, I opened my closet to grab a sweater and noticed the photo tucked behind some old paperwork. A picture of the 3 of us, me, Darren, and Mrs. Wu, taken maybe 8 years ago. We were standing outside the temple after New Year's service, all smiles. Darren had a red envelope in his hand. Mrs. Wu had her arm around me. I stared at it for a moment. Then, gently, I slid it back behind the papers and closed the closet. That was then. This is now. No fanfare. No big ending. Just the kind of peace you don't recognize until you feel it. Freedom wasn't walking away with a speech. It was waking up, making coffee, going for a walk, and realizing no one was going to ask you for anything today, and being okay with that. More than okay. Whole.